Pet loss grief is actually a very distinct form of grief called disenfranchised grief. And disenfranchised grief is grief that isn't widely acknowledged or validated in society. So the pain we experience after losing a pet is a real thing, and it has a name. And I can't tell you how much this little bit of knowledge helped me out. I also can't tell you how much I wish my therapist would have just said, oh, the pain you're experiencing over Dublin is called disenfranchised grief. And disenfranchised grief is a concept that was introduced by Dr. Kenneth J. Doka back in the 80s and perfectly describes the grief experience of losing a pet. In many ways, too, I was experiencing disenfranchised grief regarding my mom because I wasn't able to go through the standard mourning and grief customs that society has in place when a human passes. I was just so relieved to finally have a name for what I was experiencing, and that really allowed me to finally start to unpack all of the challenges and difficulties I had regarding Dublin. You know, of course, I was struggling with that loss. I mean, he was one of the most important relationships in my life. But the key point is in my life. So no one else had the depth of connection with Dublin that I did. You know, no one else spent their free time hanging with my buddy. Why would anyone understand how much pain I was in about someone that nobody else knows? I mean, of course, if your pet was the family pet, then the loss will affect more than one person. But normally that loss won't be felt outside of a home. So that makes sense why society in general doesn't recognize pet loss the same way it does other forms of loss. Because when we lose a pet, it's an intensely personal and private loss, the same way it does other forms of loss. Because when we lose a pet, it's an intensely personal and private loss.